Welcome to Gemara Academy. In this class, we will learn Tosfos Dibra Maschal, the Rabbi Kiva Savri Alfinon Zerik Mimeshit. Let's begin. The Rabbi Kiva Savri Alfinon Zerik Mimeshit. Here in the Gemara, we said that one of the ways of understanding the machlekes between Rabbi Kiva and the Rabbanan that argue in a case where a person threw an item from one Rosh Hashanah to another Rosh Hashanah over Rosh Hashanah, Rabbi Kiva says Chayev because Alfinon Zerik Mimeshit. We learn Zerik from Meshit, just like Meshit. If a person were to pass an item from one Rosh Hashanah to another Rosh Hashanah over Rosh Hashanah, he would be chayiv because that's what was done in the Mishkan. So too, if a person threw it in such a manner, he's chayiv because the alfinon zerik mimeshit. We learn zerik from meshit, and the Rabbanan say pater because they hold loy alfinon zerik mimeshit. We do not learn zerik from meshit. Meshit was done in the Mishkan, and therefore meshit's chayiv. However, zerik was not done in the Mishkan, and we do not learn it from meshit, and therefore it's not chayiv. So here Tosfos is going to question the idea of Yalfinon Zerik Mimeshit. How can we say, in a tribute to Rabbi Kiva, this whole concept of Yalfinon Zerik Mimeshit, it seems that it's an illogical idea to say we learn Zerik from Meshit. It's not consistent with what we learned earlier. Let's see it inside. V'im Tamar, and if one asks, and before Tosfos actually asks the question, he presents some background information that leads into the question. So it's going to be in purple. V'al karchach, but it must be that Zerik Rishus HaYachad, Rishus HaYachad, one who throws from one Rishus HaYachad to another Rishus HaYachad, Derech Rishus HaRabim, through Rishus HaRabim, Loi Hayev Mishkan was not in the Mishkan. How do we know that it must be that it wasn't in the Mishkan? So Tosfos will show us from two different ways how we know this. The Im Hayev Mishkan, because if it wasn't the Mishkan, Mat Sarach L'Melech B'Meishit. Why do we have to learn it from Meishit? We could just say it's Chayev on its own right, because it wasn't the Mishkan. From the fact that we learn it from Meishit indicates that Zerik was not done in the Mishkan. And the second way that we know this, my time anami also, what's the reason the Rabbanan, the Patri, that make him Pater? Why should it be Pater if it was done in the Mishkan? That being the case, that Zerik was not in the Mishkan, we now have a question. The cave in the Loi Hayev Mishkan, since it wasn't in the Mishkan, Amai Mechayev Rabbi Kiva. Why does Rabbi Kiva make a person Chayev when he's Zerik from one Rosh Hashanah to another through Rosh Hashanah? Why does Rabbi Kiva make it Chayev? The betul the Eitzah, because when it comes to the tuldas of Eitzah, shehi malacha grua, which Eitzah is malacha grua, a weak malacha. Tosfos told us in the Bezim and Aleph that Eitzah carrying is a weak malacha. Number one, it doesn't make any change in the item. And number two, Tosfos pointed out another way that we see it's a weak malacha. So by a tulda of Eitzah, which Eitzah is a weak malacha, ein lanu lechayev, we should not make chayev ela dafka eisen, nothing but those specifically shahayu b'mishkan, which were in the Mishkan. Like I explained earlier. Earlier, Tosfos told us that generally, in order to be classified as an Av and a Tulda, the way it works is that whatever was done in the Mishkan is an Av, and anything similar to it is a Tulda. However, by itself, since it's a Malacha Grua, it's different. An Av needs two things. Number one, it needs to be in the Mishkan, and number two, it actually has to be written in the Torah. And a Tulda needs one of three requirements. Any one of these three would classify it as a Tulda. Either it had to be in the Mishkan, it itself has to have been done in the Mishkan. Number two, it has to be Allah L'Meishim Sinai, that it's chayiv for doing it on Shabbos. But number three, the third way that it can be qualified as a tulda is that it's exactly like the Av, not just similar to the Av, but exactly like it. So the question is, it doesn't seem that Zerik fulfills any of these requirements. It's not found in the Mishkan like we just established. It's not Allah L'Meishim Sinai, and it's not exactly like the Av. So how could we say Yalfinon Zerik Mimeshit? And Tosfos answers, we could say the Rabbi Kiva Savar, the Rabbi Kiva holds the Zerik Dami Tfeila Meishit, that Zerik is more similar to Meishit, from the similarity of the other Tuldas to Eitzah. In other words, Tosfos is telling us that Zerik fulfills the third requirement, although it was not in the Mishkan, and it's not Allah L'Meishim Sinai, but it's exactly like Meishit. Like Tosfos told us earlier, that the reason why Achanasa is considered a Tulda, it's not found in the Mishkan in all of its cases. It's not Allah L'Meishim Sinai. So why is it a Tulda of Eitzah? And the reason is because it's not just similar to Eitzah, it's exactly like Eitzah. It's transferring from one Rishus to another Rishus. The question just is in which direction. Eitzah is from Rishus HaYachad to Rishus HaRabim, and Achanasa is from Rishus HaRabim to Rishus HaYachad. And since they're exactly the same, therefore Hachnasa qualifies as a Tulda. And so too over here, we're going to say that Rabbi Kiva holds that Zerik is exactly like Meishit, it's not just similar to it. So to summarize, we asked, how can we even say the idea of Yalfinon Zerik and Meishit? We learned Zerik from Meishit. By Eitzah, in order to qualify as a Tulda, it has to either have been itself in the Mishkan, or Allah L'Meishim Sinai, or exactly like the Av, and Zerik doesn't seem to have any of these conditions met. And Tosfos answers that it meets the third condition, the third requirement that would classify it as a Tulda, and that is that it's exactly like Meishit.